Just take a look at yourself. Do you really think it's gonna help if you always fighting yourself, trying to forget how you felt? Just take a look at yourself. Can't even be your own friend, cause you're way too stuck in your head. How do you think it's gonna end? Nothing that they could do, nothing that they could say, nothing that they could do to take all the pain away. Sometimes it works out.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Midlife Metamorphosis, Weight Loss Surgery Over 50. Today is March 29th, and just to give you a little update on where I am as far as getting my surgery, I am still scheduled for my surgery on April the 18th. However, on Monday, 2 days ago, I got some kind of upsetting news. I found out that I have to have another 9 nutrition appointments. The original prerequisite was having 3 nutrition appointments, and so I have to have an additional 9, which makes 12 in total. When I found this out, it was really upsetting, because when I was told that I had to have the 3 nutritionist visits, they said that I had to have them no less than a month apart. And so I immediately thought, wow, this is going to drag this out another 9 months if I have to have a month in between nutritionist appointments, and I have to have 9 more. So I got on the phone with my insurance company, Aetna, and we found out that I can have more than one. Actually, I can have more than one a week, which makes me wonder if the original 3 appointments could have been done in a shorter amount of time. So that's a little frustrating, because it just feels like these the requirements for this surgery are kind of changing all of the time, and I'm just a little worried that I'm going to get down the road and there's going to be yet another hurdle, another obstacle to get over. I also found out that, when the lady called me from my doctor's office and told me about the 9, excuse me, the 9 additional nutritionist appointments, she also said that I had to have a sleep study, which we both thought that meant I had to go in and do the overnight study for sleep apnea, even though I know I don't have sleep apnea. And also, I have to have a fasting glucose test, which is not a big deal. However, when we got on the phone with the Aetna benefits person, when we got on the phone with the Aetna nurse who's doing the approval, she said that no, the sleep study is not the sleep apnea overnight test, but just a questionnaire saying, how do you feel in the morning from 1 to 10, this kind of thing, which is not a big deal. It is a big deal, however, to figure out how to get these 9 nutritionist appointments in time for my April 18th surgery, because I still don't have approval from Aetna on them paying for the surgery until I have all of this, and we're going to cut it close. So anyway, I was a little bit depressed, I have to admit, and a little frustrated, because, this has been 4 months in the making, and I thought I was in the home stretch. So anyway, today what I wanted to share with you guys is I wanted to share with you a video clip, or the audio from a video clip from a bariatric doctor out of San Antonio, Texas. His name is Dr. John Pilcher, Pilcher, with Sage Bariatric Surgeons. And in this audio clip from the video, which is out on YouTube, the YouTube is called, just look up John Pilcher and look up obesity prejudice. And so the video is longer. I'm just going to play for you the part of the clip that talks about how some people's bodies, the instinct is to hold on to weight for kind of a survival mode. And that no matter how much willpower you have or how much work you put, that your body is going to revert back to this survival instinct of holding on to the weight. And once I found this video, it made so much sense to me about why I was having such a hard time with, I would go and I would do one meal a day and restrict my calories down to, let's say, about 700 calories a day. And I would lose, let's just say, around 20 pounds. But then let's just say that my calories started going back up to 1,000. I had immediately put the weight back on. And it was so frustrating because I was like, is this what life is going to be like forever going on? Is that I have to only consume like 700 calories a day? And that was with, mall walking. I was walking 3 miles, 3 miles in a session at the mall like 3 times a week. So it wasn't like I was not doing any kind of physical exercise at the same time. So, so this video was really instrumental in me making the decision that, yeah, I think that, and he also talks about how the weight loss surgery is a tool that'll help your body get over that instinctive fallback position of retaining the weight. So I just wanted to share it with you guys in case you're experiencing something like this. And he has other videos that I will also share some of the other videos with you guys, because he really has compassion and empathizes with people who have societal prejudice against us about how people will say to you, like, well, all you need to do is just eat less and exercise more. He understands that from a metabolic standpoint, that's not always the case. So anyway, leave me a comment or, tell me what you think about this. And I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. I hope you have a great day.
In this video, I'm not going to discuss all the basic science that underpins the change from the willpower narrative towards the biological approach to obesity management, but I'm going to use that knowledge to describe a more modern understanding of the relationship between the mind and the will and the body with biology. Again, the real story is that the mind and the body are inextricably linked together. There are whole books written about this, but for our purposes here, it's going to be useful to think about these as two separate entities, the mind, will, and the body, biology, that work in relationship or in partnership, often not in partnership. The willpower narrative assumes that biology is a domesticated junior companion of the mind. The mind is considered to be in control, and biology conforms to the will of the master. Even if biology gets a bit spunky or playful from time to time, there's no question about who is in charge. This represents the willpower narrative of weight control. The real story is that the biology in the body is a much bigger beast than the mind, and the biology has its own powerful reflexes, habits, and urges that may or may not fit with the mind's fine conscious ideas. In reality, this makes sense because we can only survive if biology is powerful and complex and automatic. The conscious mind has no scope to monitor and adjust survival systems such as blood flow, temperature regulation, or breathing. The fat storage system is another one of these survival mechanisms, and some degree of fat storage is actually a survival resource for any organism to survive between meals and move around. The problem is that for many people in our modern civilization, some combination of genetics and the environment, most likely including the industrial food supply, causes this powerful unconscious system to fall out of balance so that the body biology wants people to have massive excess fat stores. Now we know that this is logically and medically unsafe, but again, there's a disconnect. The body is responding to its own reflexive primal survival resources, its own survival impulses, and it's not necessarily subject to conscious logical control. In other words, the body is going to act on an instinctive level to do what it thinks is best for survival, in spite of what the mind tries to redirect it to do. This concept of the mind as a rider on a large untamed beast that has its own impulses can help explain one of the tricky, misleading things that help the willpower narrative seem so natural and obvious. The fact is that most people who have excess fat can lose some weight through diet and exercise. At first blush, it seems obvious to conclude that more diet and more exercise should lead to more weight loss. But the fact is that 98% of people with serious obesity run into kind of like a wall and can't get any lower even with strenuous effort. Picture this as the mind and rider trying to move the beast to a place of its choice, and the beast may move a little bit with the yelling and kicking and whipping, but after a little while, once the beast gets a certain distance away from where its impulses want it to go, let's say some water or some food if we're using the beast analogy, fat storage in the case of the obesity condition, the further the beast moves, the more resistant it becomes until the beast just stops, and then it will stubbornly maintain its position in spite of everything that the mind is trying to do. In fact, the harder they try, imagine the rider doing more screaming or kicking or whipping, it's just going to make the beast angry. And the next thing you know, the beast is off on its own course. In the weight situation, it's returning to where it thinks the body should be. So this image of the biology and the impulses being a dominant factor in where the weight goes is the rest of the story in the biology of obesity control. The body can stubbornly maintain excess fat levels in the face of extensive and strenuous efforts by the mind and the will. This image of the body and the biology as being the dominant influence in weight control is the most accurate picture, and this is why the willpower narrative and the thermodynamic theory don't apply. The body is following its survival impulses, and it will stubbornly defend the fat resource as a survival advantage in spite of anything that the mind wants to do if the body is out of balance. This concept of the body and biology having a very significant impact on weight control also captures the fact that there's big biological variability among individuals in the human population. A lot of people have a healthy biological balance, and in those lucky folks, the biology beast is perfectly content to maintain small, healthy, appropriate fat stores. The mind and rider for those people is perfectly happy to take credit for the fact that biology is performing in a healthy way. Aunt Jane proclaims that loudly, right? My aerobic class and my healthy eating. But very often, it's more luck than will or intelligence. No offense, Aunt Jane. Fortunately, the power of the biology in this beast body is not the end of the story. We can seriously reshape the relationship between the mind and the rider and the biology with medical and surgical management. As I've explained more extensively elsewhere, bariatric surgery actually works on a hormonal biological level so that the body on a basic survival level no longer wants to hold on to the excess fat. This is like rewiring the impulses of biology, and in current medical jargon we say we're reducing the body's set point of fat to a lower, healthier level. Now, this is not a magical change where everything is suddenly moonbeams and rainbows, but it's still fair to say that we convert the mind-biology relationship into one that is much more healthy.
That was Dr. John Pilcher of Sage Bariatric in San Antonio, Texas. I hope you got something out of what he had to say. I found it very enlightening and encouraging. And again, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I made my decision to have the weight loss surgery. So anyway, I really want to hear what you have to say. You guys, take care.
Just take a look at yourself. Do you really think it's gonna help if you always fighting yourself, trying to forget how you felt? Just take a look at yourself. Can't even be your own friend, 'cause you're way too stuck in your head. How do you think it's gonna